your throat. And once it sticks, the patch listens to every vibration from your voice box beneath the skin. Inside is a microphone and a wireless transceiver that sends your voice straight to your phone, making it clearer even in noisy places. But the tattoo could also sense skin resistance, picking up signs of stress, meaning it could detect when you're lying. And if that information was ever used against you, this tattoo could expose your secrets. Thankfully, it never moved beyond the patent stage, but it does make you wonder what's coming. An acorn falls off an oak tree. A squirrel will grab it and run away. Now, some are sweet, so the squirrel eats those right away. But others have a chemical inside that makes them taste bitter, so the squirrel will bury those for later. But they bury thousands of these bitter acorns every year, and they don't remember all of them. Meaning, months later, the forgotten acorns start growing, spreading oak trees to new places, and starting the process all over again. When an acorn falls, sunlight will travel down a shaft in the mountain until it lands on a metal wire. The sunlight will heat it, and the metal will slightly change shape. That tiny movement will nudge the clock's gears forward, keeping it aligned with the sun. At the same time, a massive pendulum will swing inside, driving gears that track time. So once a year, a small hand will move one space. After 100 years, the century hand will move. And every 1,000 years, the clock will display the new millennium. Now, the clock is still under construction, but when finished, it's designed to run for the next 10,000 years. At noon, hold the key over a lighter until it turns black with soot. Then press a piece of tape onto the side, peel it off, and stick it onto a plastic card, transferring the shape onto the surface. Next, carefully cut it out and hold the keys together, trimming away any bumps or gaps until you get an exact copy of the key. Hold the key over a lighter. Cut the laptop in half with a saw, then the phone, the TV, and even an entire car. You see, he was getting divorced, and his wife was supposed to get half of everything. So he sent half of each item to her and put his halves up on eBay. Now, the story went viral, and he ended up raising 2,000 euros from the listings. But a group of lawyers actually made the whole thing up as a prank. You see, they wanted to convince couples to make legal agreements before getting married by showing how messy a divorce could actually be. He cut the laptop alone on an island, the last tortoise of his entire species. Scientists brought him to safety because if he died, his entire species would vanish with him. So they brought in females from closely related species, hoping he could still pass on his genes. They waited for eggs, and some were laid, but none ever hatched, meaning there was no way to save the species. So thousands of people visited him, since he was the last one. Then, one morning, decades after he had been found, his caretaker found him motionless, and with him, his entire species disappeared forever. He lifted her onto his back and used a bed sheet to tie her to himself. Then he climbed into his truck. You see, she had collapsed from brain damage, and after surgery, her right side became paralyzed, but he refused to leave her. So he brought her on the road with him. Every day, he bathed her in the small truck with only a bowl of water and gently dressed her. Then he would carry her onto the highway to help her practice walking again. And after 2 years, she could walk over a mile. He lifted her. They cut across into the wooden block and inserted it on top of the pillar. Next, they carved squares out of the 2 planks, locked them together, and placed the wooden brackets on top of each corner. Then they repeated this several times, using bigger and bigger planks on each level. And after stacking on several wooden pieces, they slid on a wide plank to make a roof. Whenever an earthquake hit, the force traveled up the pieces, getting spread out evenly along the way, while the interlocked shape stopped the wood from sliding around, letting the temple stand for hundreds of years. The band's Wikipedia page on his phone then told the security guard that he was related to them. To prove it, he pulled up the page and showed his ID. And when the guard saw his name listed as family, he believed it and let the man backstage. When he met the band, he immediately confessed, but they found it so funny that they invited him in for drinks and even took his number. And the next day, their page was changed again, now listing him as a legend. Through the opening, after the liquid is poured through the opening and into the spinning roller below, which is kept freezing cold by a special cooling system. This allows the liquid to freeze into thin sheets of ice that are then shaved off by a scraper to make snow. By changing the settings, you can even make noodle shapes or ice as thin as needles. And after it's scraped out into your bowl, you'll have a delicious frozen treat. Lock with a sledgehammer, then tried to open it with bolt cutters. And when they couldn't, the company called the lock unbreakable. But a YouTuber cut a slice from an aluminum can, slid it into the lock's barrel, and hooked it on the other side. When he yanked it, the lock opened, proving the marketing was a lie. Because of this, the company sent him threatening messages and eventually sued him. But in court, they admitted his technique worked and eventually dropped the case. The YouTuber went on to pick their other locks and posted even more videos. They wrap the rope over the stick like this. Take the loop and pull the rope over itself, holding the end in place. Next, take the new outer loop and pull it all the way over the end of the stick until it sits at the back. Finally, pull the ends to tighten the hold before doing the same on the other side. And once you have enough rungs, you can climb your own rope ladder. Wrap the rope over the stick like this.